A punch Sid in the face.
I can't talk anymore. The podcast is starting.
Oh, I can talk. I'll talk as much as I want. Look at these words. Listen to them. They're all moving out of my mouth.
Oh, wow. Welcome to Rhythm and Pixels, a video game music podcast. The podcast where every week I play Final Fantasy X with nothing else per now.
That is the truth.
Yeah.
It's true.
No,
I've seen it. I've tried to stop him. I've tried to save him from the addiction. Nothing works. Final Fantasy Anonymous doesn't do anything. He just finds more addicts to play Final Fantasy X with. It doesn't make sense.
I'm just like a warehouse of people playing Final Fantasy X. We're all like emaciated and we have just controllers.
It's like, my name is Jacob. I've been here. I'm a first-time visitor. Hi, Jacob. Yes, I've played Final Fantasy X, going on my 20th run through the game. Oh, no. Jacob, why? Because I love the characters and the environment is really cool and the music is good. No, we mean why only 20? I'm on my 30th. Come on, let's go. We got to get you that extra run. Like the counselor just sitting there like, yes, I approve of this.
You don't know.
I work for Square.
You've never felt this good as when you've completed your sphere grid.
Oh, true. But
that's the real high for now.
But that's just it also. Like, I feel like when
by the way, we listen to video game music on this podcast from all consoles and all generations.
Nope, we complain about the sphere grid. That's what we do.
Every once in a while, we talk about our favorite games and why we don't play anything else.
And right now, I'm talking about, aside
come on,
from his Final Fantasy,
Mr. 1001 Spikes over there.
That game is a gym, and I have more to do anew in that game.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Sure, there's stuff I haven't done in Final Fantasy X yet that I know about, but I'll do eventually.
Like what?
Dodging lightning bolts
and
200 times.
I've done that, and I haven't even beaten the game yet.
I want to fight. There's hidden bosses I want to fight. Like
you haven't fought the Dark Aeons yet?
I think I fought most of them. We never finished them. I want to do the. I think you can fight Yevon, which is like the final Dark Aeon or something.
Oh, mercy.
Going through the Omega Ruins.
Oh, mercy. But before you do that, you got to start the game over again. Because that's what I'm going to tease you about.
Oh, yeah. I got to start over because I forgot where I was.
I can't knock it too much. I'm actually in frustration land with my game. I was one of the people who did the Kickstarter for Bloodstained way back. I guess it was in 2015 or 14.
Yeah, it was about 4 years ago, I understand.
Yeah, and I believe I kickstarted for the Vita version, and then that version got canceled. So then I switched to the Switch version, thinking it's the next best thing, It's not going to be 60 frames per second. It's not going to be high 4K definition, wherever the heck we were looking at back then. But it's going to be portable and playable, and I'll be happy.
And?
Is
for now? Is it as good as Final Fantasy X?
I'll be blunt, and I'm going to take a lot of flack for this, I think. But even though the game is likely not as good, this is probably the one time I'll probably ever say, I think the Mighty Number 9 Kickstarter did it better. At least for that system. And I mean in regards to I was in both Kickstarters, okay? And Mighty Number 9 took a lot of flack. I mean, a lot of flack. And for good reason. There was a lot of failed promises, things that were said weren't done, But if I go down to specifically the game itself, like here's the game, you can put it in your system and play it right now. I had no problems with that game. There wasn't a need for a bunch of patches to come out to correct the game I paid for. I mean, it's frustrating because you waited all this time to get something and it shows up. And while I do give them credit for saying, we're going to address it, we're going to fix it via patches and stuff like that, it still goes to show, the sense that, hey, this was your timetable. No one told you to put the game out right now. You could have waited, got it right.
Yeah, so you're saying Mighty Number 9, they waited. They did it better?
I'll admit, I don't know if I want to give them credit for waiting in that regard because
what about the whole package? Like, you got a physical copy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, typical packaging for a game is a case, no manual, cart inside, and it has a slip cover over it that I'll still likely hang on to and keep.
Of course.
But I'm not going to knock that. And like I said, I'm not even knocking the game as a whole because the actual game.
Yeah, that's what matters.
That's the thing. It kind of doesn't.
How?
Because again, it's the equivalent of like saying two things. One, the game can be great, but if my copy's not great, what's the point? It's like, yeah, I can go out and buy it again on another system, but then I'm double dipping.
You mean there's a problem with it on the Switch?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a matter of, it's problematic in a way where it can be fixed through patches, but in the meantime, it's a deep annoyance. Like, I'd rather have them just say, we're not releasing the game yet until we get it right.
Yeah, that's what happened when I got Celeste when it came out on the PS4. And there were some glitches that like broke the game halfway through, and like a lot of people like didn't get to that, but like I was right there, and it was just I couldn't backtrack, I couldn't do anything. The game would just crash and stop.
Yeah,
and I was like, darn, I gotta wait like a week or so now because they announced like, yeah, we fixed the bug, but Sony doesn't allow us to just upload and release patches immediately. So there's like a whole process.
Yeah, you know what they say? The idea of you only can make one good first impression. So you only make one first impression, which means that. You put all this hope into something, money that you put into no product, you expect it to come out good, and it doesn't. And
it's interesting. I feel like software as a service, you're buying the physical copy, but then you put it in, and immediately connects to the internet and looks for patches. The games we're playing now are living pieces.
Yeah,
they're constantly being updated. They're constantly being patched. So I feel like that's part of it now.
And that's the thing, it's a double-edged sword. Because when consoles develop the ability to do that, me personally, initially, being the doe-eyed, bright-eyed guy I can be sometimes, I was thinking that's a good thing, Because again, if they want to add more content, they can just shove it in there. No need to release a final mix, quote-unquote. Square was notorious for that. If they wanted to, fix problems that existed in the game, they could do that, no problem. You don't have to worry about mailing your cartridge back to the company and hope they'll mail you a replacement with fixed bugs. But unfortunately, the downside to that is companies learn to fall back on that too. This could have been them again saying, "Hey, we tested this game. These are issues that exist. Rather than mail you guys this rough cut copy, we'll hold on to it for another month, fix it up. Yeah, you're going to be annoyed not having the game while your PS4 brethren are playing it." But we know that when it comes out, you'll have a copy that is good and is to the standards we wanted it to be.
So if you believe if they communicated more,
yes,
said, you know what, it's good on the PS4, it's good on this system, but on the Switch, it's not doing.
I love how you forgot the Xbox existed, like a lot of them.
Yeah, actually, I really did. And then so we'll just not release it for everything. Even though everything's ready to go, everything's ready to ship, you're not going to get it. So all of these review copies and all this and that, like no one, there's probably so much more involved.
Yeah.
With this whole thing.
Probably investors. It's probably investors.
Investors and the game being, not made. It's being an international release.
Was it international release?
It's Japanese developer, right?
Yeah, but I mean,
and now it's over here.
Well, I'm saying international is like, did it release in Japan at the same time? They could have just sent it right here.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, like you talked to him, right? Like that's how you got your copy.
Yo, Iga, what you doing, baby?
Yeah, they just
where my game at?
They just mail it to you. All right, we got more to complain about later, but so I want to thank everyone who downloaded and listened to last week's episode with the Legacy Music Hour. They are two very cool guys. It was surprising how open they were to talk about their history and talk about the show and about what they do, and they were just really relaxed. It was a really relaxed time, and we talked for a whole bunch before we started, and then even afterwards a little bit. Like Rob had to go, but then Brent is like, he'll be up like all night long talking. He's like you, I think.
Yeah. He's like the old Purnell before sleep started saying, "What you doing, buddy? Time to go to bed."
So that was really fun. And also thanks to everybody who came out to Too Many Games again. It was 2 weeks ago now, but it was so much fun. I'm so sad that it didn't get recorded, but it was just immediately. It was just, I think we made a great impression. It was really, really good. So we have another one coming up. It's called the Philly Podcast Festival, and you can see us on July 20th, which is a Saturday, between 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. at the Indie Hall on Market Street, which is 399 Market Street. And it's called the Indie Hall. It's like a shared worker space. I think there's some like software developers and stuff like that. So I don't know what to expect. But I think we're doing a phone interview. I have to tell you about that. So
what?
We have to like schedule something. We don't have to, but we can, and so we will.
I am so lost here. As in, like, we have to interview someone for the show?
No. They want to interview us and then do a piece on us.
Oh, mercy, that'll be fun.
Yeah, we'll be like, oh yeah, sure.
We called the Rhythm and Pixels guys.
One
of them wouldn't stop yelling about the hives that wouldn't stop crawling all over his skin.
Right, and the other one wouldn't shut up about this Castlevania game. I don't even know what a Castlevania is.
Well, if you keep listening, you'll find out.
Who is this? Pernelvania.
Well, you see, it's the new hot genre.
Pernelvania.
God, that would be a great game genre.
What is it? It's
Pernelvania.
Metroidvania.
Yes, it would be a fantastic game piece. It would just be me running across various landscapes looking for things that I need for my day-to-day life. I got to go to the to the Walmart dungeon to pick up some tilapia.
Just running errands.
Yeah, it's just me running errands across the East Coast.
But it's still like a Metroidvania, so you have to
I need to get the gasoline to move the car to Westchester.
Right, and once you get the potato chips, then you can get the double jump.
Yeah. Well, no. The potato chips provide me with the fuel to keep going, and then I get the board game, which will allow me access to the board game den, which will allow me access to the informant, who will only hang out with people who are good at Settlers of Catan. And then from there, I'll be access to the information that gets me to the Speakeasy in South Central Philadelphia, which will then provide me with a key to get into the back door of the barcade in Fishtown, which will then give me access to a stack of specially minted tokens that can only be used at one arcade machine at the other barcade in Northwest Philadelphia. Actually, it'd be in New York
And
City.
that game is MK Ultra. And after I've played it, I have no idea where I've been, and I become strangely violent.
We got a request from one of the listeners here about Cadence of Hyrule.
Okay.
Mentioning of has it been played, and what do we think of?
I don't have a Nintendo Switch, so I haven't played it. But I really enjoy Crypt of the Necrodancer a lot. I play that a lot.
Yes, so I would say if you've played Crypt of the Necrodancer, while they're not a one-to-one on games, you still have an impression, a sense of what you would be getting from Cadence of Hyrule, just, now with a delicious Zelda coat of paint.
Yeah, Zelda twist. I heard it's a little bit easier, because...
Oh, no!
No? Crypt of the Necrodancer is pretty rough.
Actually, it's hard to say. What I've heard and kind of experienced, because I haven't beaten it yet, but I've played bits of it.
Because Crypt of the Necrodancer is a roguelike.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Zelda Cadence of Hyrule is not a roguelike. However, it does have roguelike elements in the sense that every overworld and dungeon layout is a spawn seed. So every time you start a brand new game, it's a new layout.
Okay.
However...
So not just every section.
Whereas I feel like Crypt of the Necrodancer, even though it is a challenging game, I feel like the patterns don't get overly complicated early on. Like, at least that first set of floors,
right?
They're fairly like, hey, here you go. Whereas playing Cadence of Hyrule, the first, secret tunnel I went into had a guy who had attack patterns that I didn't see in Necrodancer until the second dungeon. So I was like, whoa, they're kind of hitting you with a lot of different combinations of attack patterns and complicated attack patterns very early on. So without a lot of heart containers, and this happening at the beginning of the game, it takes some build-up.
Right.
But once you get more heart containers, you can kind of just sponge off damage.
Yeah, that was my... That was kind of how I got through a lot of Crypt of the Necrodancer, was just dying, because you have to watch the enemies and learn their movements, because it moves quickly to the music. And you got to move on the beat, because the enemy is moving on the beat too, and it's challenging.
And if you don't, you'll move around, but you won't get any attack buffs or anything, so you'll ultimately be a sour worm on the sand, on the salty floor of life.
All right, well, we're going to start with some music. So we're going to start with a music game, recent music game. This was chosen by Stephen Miller, listener and patron Stephen Miller. This is from Just Shapes and Beats for the PlayStation 4 and the Nintendo Switch, because this game is awesome.
Yes, it is.
I did finish this one, and most of it. I haven't played through a lot of I haven't unlocked all the songs. But the artist is Sabrepulse, super classic chiptune producer, and the track is called "Close to Me." It's one of the boss stages, and it's so good. It's so good. I can't think of a better way to start the show. So this is "Close to Me."
I can.
From Just Shapes and Beats.
The lottery. Did you win it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, Pernell.
There you go. That would be. That's a better way to start any show.
That's where I just came from. Lottery City.
Lottery Town.
Lottery
USA. Population, you.
think so. That was Close to Me. That was Close to Me from Just Shapes and Beats on the PlayStation 4 and the Nintendo Switch. And that was composed by the artist Sabrepulse. And yeah, that's one of the last, not the last stage in the game, but it's one of the last stages in the game. You have to save the little frowny, sad face. He's like a little square with a sad face on him.
Well, everything in this game is squares or circles anyway. You are a tiny square being attacked by a circle.
Yes.
And you are dodging shapes come at you in the form of beats.
Yeah, so
just shapes and beats.
It's just shapes.
There's your title.
Yeah, so the there's a big bad red monster, and he's turning all of the little creatures in the town horrible and evil, and they're trying to hit you. And there's like a little sad face, and he's crying. And so you're trying to save him, and there's a little boat, and the boat's sad, and you gotta save the boat. And there's a little helicopter, and you gotta save the helicopter. And
ultimately, this title is it's worth your time, though.
I love it. It feels so. The ending feels so good. The ending of the story mode feels amazing. It's like everything comes together, and you actually get to shoot. You get to shoot back. It's really fun.
Man, that sounds interesting to hear.
Yeah.
Almost a spoiler too, because I didn't know you could shoot bullets.
Well, I mean, like there's only one spot, and it happens, and it feels really good. You just have to get. It doesn't take that long, but like over time, I slowly made progress.
Going for those S ranks, it'll take forever.
Could take a long time. This is one of the easier boss fights. The boss fights are so hard in this game compared to the normal stages, the song stages. They're just like the first 3 are like tracks in the game. I think are all boss fights, and they're so hard. So hard. They throw you right into the game. I think
it's largely because when you're doing normal levels. So the idea behind this game again is that you're a square. And you're just pretty much like a bullet hell of sorts.
Yeah, it's just
or an environmental hell.
It's a dodge 'em up, but where everything is set to the music. But in the stages, there's checkpoints. So
the checkpoints too. But I'm not even thinking so much about the checkpoints. That just makes it that when you die, it's easier to get back into the game quicker.
Yeah, but the boss battles don't have checkpoints.
Yeah, it's not just that. The checkpoint thing is a problem, but I also feel like due to how erratic the boss fights can be, that's the difficult part. Because like you'll have a guy who's staring there, it's like, okay, what is he going to do? What is he going to do? And then he just like grabs the floor and pulls it up, and he does it at a pace where if you don't know he's doing it, you're not going to react fast enough. You'll probably take that hit.
Yeah, a lot of stuff in the game is telegraphed, and like once you see it again, it's like, oh, that's right, it was actually telegraphed really well. But you have to see it a few times. So a lot of the stuff, it's like the stage battles are like, oh, it makes sense. It's very like the geometry's flowing around, and there's like it's just it flows with the music well enough that you can just get through the stage. But with the boss battles, it's like you're fighting against an organic like thing, like an animal. And it's unpredictable. It's a lot of fun. I really recommend this game if you like bullet hell games, if you like music games. It's only like $20. It's really fun. It's got some great music. And if you like chiptune, if you don't like a lot of chiptune, it's going to bug you. There's a lot of it. This is one of the cooler dance music stages in the game. I really like it a lot.
Oh, honestly, the music in this game is a large part of what makes this what it is. Because while I'll admit there are times where I'll play a music-based game and the music is not so great, but the gameplay pushes me through. This is one of those cases where I feel like the music is already standing up the game. The game is good, but I don't need the game to make me like the music.
Right? Yeah, because the music itself, because we're already into it. Like, there's actually a few tracks that kind of were grating on me a little bit, just because they were like heavy. They were like guitar solos with like chiptune sounds, and they kind of went on a little crazy. But I can go on that for a while. Pernell, why don't we go on to your first track?
We should do that.
We should probably do that.
We could do that.
Since
the topic of the PlayStation 1 just came up, I figure I'll make my first track a game that was also on the PlayStation 1. This track was submitted by our good friend Wicked Sephiroth from a game that I hate, but from a part of the game that I love. So I have to bring it up. And that is a track titled Shuffle or Boogie from the game Final Fantasy VIII. You know the one, the UGG one. Composed by Nobuo Uematsu.
Damn, Pernell. Wow.
Salty
on that one, yeah.
Welcome back. You're listening to Shuffle or Boogie from the game Final Fantasy VIII, composed by Nobuo Uematsu and submitted by friend and listener Wicked Sephiroth. This track, so clarify for the one guy on the planet who does not know this, I do not like Final Fantasy VIII.
That is your opinion.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. I don't like it. Thereby, it's a big yo. However, despite that statement, there are two things about this game that I do like. And one of those things is Laguna Lior, however you want to pronounce his last name, and the segments of the game where you play as him and his team, like listen to that cool battle track. The other thing is the game that this bad boy of a track plays during, which is Triple Triad, something that I really wish showed up in pretty much every Final Fantasy game after this.
Yeah, the little mini game that was a card game. You find cards throughout the world, and then you can play them in taverns and inns against other NPCs, and you can win their cards, and it's a fun game. It's cool.
Yeah, I like the fact that you can literally play like any NPC.
Yeah,
it was glorious.
That's right. Did they ever do like a physical version of this game?
Not exactly. So Square.
Because that one was it called Gwyneth?
No, I got you. I got you. Gwent, wrong game, but you're on the right track. Actually, no. So
I was thinking like they did that.
No, that Gwent is a game that doesn't play like Triple Triad that's in the Witcher series.
I know,
most particularly Witcher 3.
But I'm saying like it's a game within a game that they then made a physical thing because people liked it.
Yeah. But I want Triple Triad.
Yeah,
and they never did it. So, fun fact though. So we know that it was in Final Fantasy VIII. I want to say, unless my memory is a little off, that Final Fantasy, I feel like another one, maybe 9 had like the same game but a different, like a variation of it.
It was instead of triangles, I think it was squares.
I was right. Cool. Wicked Sephiroth said it. Yep.
In 9?
Triple Triad. It was in 9. Okay. Oh no, he says in 14. So
cool.
Final Fantasy 14 has it. And
is that an online one? Wow.
Yeah, that's the online game.
Okay.
And then there was if I recall, there was a very short period of time where there was a mobile version of Triple Triad.
Oh, neat. Yeah.
But I will tell you this. There's a game I did find that a company called Level 99 put out.
Oh.
It's called Cell Swords. It is a 1v1 card game, and I bought it specifically because it is totally Triple Triad.
Oh, okay. We haven't played this one yet.
Nope, because 1v1, we never really get to play 1v1 game. But it's pretty much Triple Triad. You have a bunch of cards that are denoted to different like soldier types, and they have numbers around the side, just like Triple Triad. And you place the tile down next to other tiles. Higher number wins, just like Triple Triad. Every tile has an ability where when you play it, something happens to the rest of the board. I don't think Triple Triad had anything like that, though, unless one of the later variations of it did that.
I don't think so. What's neat is, like when I was really little, my grandma had all of these really old board games, like in her closet. And we would like Parcheesi and stuff like that. But one of them was this game. It was called Trianimos. It was like dominoes, but they were triangles.
Oh.
And they were all they were crazy sets of numbers on all of the sides. And it reminded me of Triple Triad a whole lot. It was a lot of fun.
Because that's a large part of what makes Triple Triad fun. You could like lay a tile down, or rather a card in that game. And then that card would make this tile flip over. And then, if I remember correctly, some rule sets had chaining. So you could do this card flips this card, but then this card flips these cards. You can kind of just take the whole board with one really good play. I love that. I want it back. Like, I would like to see Square. That's what throws me for a loop, by the way. Square is all about nostalgia plays. They love getting into your pocket with re-releasing games and hitting you with like these other things. And they came up with the that one Final Fantasy trading card battle game that's still out there today.
Yeah, they there's a place in Phoenixville called Gamers Heaven, which is kind of like a LAN computer like gaming center, and they have a little arcade. And they do a lot of collectible card game things there. And one of them is the Final Fantasy game. People are super into the Final Fantasy collectible card game.
Yeah.
It's very strange to me because I never got into the collectible. I love board games. I like card games. I never got into the whole collectible card game thing. I feel like they always have like kind of shared game mechanics, that I'm just not into.
Collectible card games, to me, could be fun if they didn't require a constant stream of investment. Because
maybe that's what that
because if you think about it, I mean, deck building in general is essentially collectible card games, but the difference being it's a finite number of cards and you have access to all of them. Yeah. That's pretty much it. Versus a CCG, where you could get one lucky pull and you're just trouncing me every step of the way because I can't come up with a strategy to beat these sets of powerful cards you pulled.
Right, yeah. It becomes less about like what I'm able to figure out. All right, so we're going to move on to our next song. This one comes to us from listener and patron Cameron Warma. So thank you, Cameron. This is the track from SteamWorld Heist, which he says is one of his favorite games. And this is a track called What We Need Are Some Heroes. And this is from the group Steam-Powered Giraffe. And I need more information on that. I'll get that later. But this is the game SteamWorld Heist, and the track is What We Need Are Some Heroes.
Seems far gone all around us. Light runs rare and can't compare to all this darkness. No one can tame our past of shame, it's all that we know. Memories of all those things drift through all that we sow. You know, a brighter day is just around the bend. What we need is some heroes with wheels of iron, their hearts in the stars through the darkest of days. They'll ride into the sunset, hope overflowing, and construct a new day from the back. Say to stay alive. There's a pain that we all gain from all this darkness. Look around and see it's bound to every one of us. It seems all we see is misery at the end of our ropes. Let's break this mold and change the old and all begin to hope. You know, a brighter day is just around the bend. What we need is some heroes made of metal, some steam-powered gunslingers to save the day. They'll ride in with their heads held high, guns aimed courage at their side, and vanquish the evil from the lands. What we need are some heroes with wheels of iron, their hearts in the stars through the darkest of days. They'll ride into the sunset, hope overflowing, and construct a new day from the bad. And construct a new day from the bad.
That was What We Need Are Some Heroes from SteamWorld Heist, performed by the group Steam-Powered Giraffe. And that is Isabella Bennett, David Michael Bennett, Brian Barberin, Steve Negrete, Chelsea Peniak, Camille Peniak, and Michael Reed, and a whole cast of robotic characters that look crazy. That's really cool. They have like a whole, so the group has like a whole like persona that they all dress up as these characters, and they all have deep backstories on their website. Hey, Purnell.
Take 27. So, this band, Steam Powered Giraffe, is the perfect fit, I feel, for a game in the SteamWorld series. in particular in this case SteamWorld Heist, because for those who are not familiar with the SteamWorld games, there are a series of games, not just one, that all take place within a shared universe where a bunch of humanoid robots exist on the planet. There are no humans, they're just robots, and they live in a sort of Wild West steampunkish environment. There are SteamWorld dig games, which involve just digging deep into the soil for cool minerals and ore, which ultimately results in learning about a lost civilization. Then there's SteamWorld Heist, which is this game where you are pretty much robots in space sailing across the cosmos, and there's I can't remember all the specifics. I need to get back to it.
I watched you play some of this one. It's almost like a strategy, like turn-based strategy.
Yes, it's a turn-based 2D strategy game where the majority of the gameplay involves gunplay, and you fire your gun at targets across the screen, but bullets do ricochet. So a lot of the gameplay involves setting up trick shots to make a bullet bounce off the ceiling into a drum and into the back of a robot's neck, and that does a critical damage. And it's a gem of a game.
Yeah, it looked really satisfying.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if I hadn't been dumb enough to put it on extra hard mode, I'd have beaten it by now. But I think I have like a clock. I think my gameplay is like 20 hours.
The curse of hard mode for Purnell, is it?
That's the one. You know the deal. I am up to, I think I put, like I said, 15, 20 hours in this game. But I feel like the game itself on normal difficulty should take that long. But I'm only up to like maybe the second half of the script. Second third of the game, so it's. But I even with that stated, I can wholeheartedly recommend this game because when I do well in it, I really enjoy it. When I'm struggling at it, I do well. I still enjoy it, and I love going for the dreaded 3 stars out of 3 ranking on all the areas. It's just a fun title.
It's not just completing the stages. It's like make sure you do all the things, and then you get the S rank, and then you can move on. And then you're on.
You don't just do it; you do it right.
And then you're on super hard mode, so it takes a little bit.
Or not super. Oh,
finesse.
You don't have to suffer like I do. You don't have to suffer like G did. You can just go into the game, play normal, and just slog through it and just have a blast.
You can't just like slide past that reference.
What?
That deep cut reference.
Oh, no, there was no reference. That's my friend G.
Suffer like G, dude.
What game is that from?
Do you not remember?
No, I totally said that unaware of.
That's from House of the Dead. House of the Dead 2, I think. Or Typing of the Dead.
It was the first House of the Dead.
Was it the first one?
Yeah, because then Typing of the... No.
Yeah, it was the second one because G dies, and then it's like...
it was the second one, and then Typing of the Dead
was based on the second
footage.
one. And there's like... And they reference the character from the first game, like, oh,
Does it ever occur to you to just try the game on normal? Well, fun fact, it has occurred. It depends on the game, but the problem is, if you get to a certain point in something where you're like, okay, I've put in, like I said, 15 hours into this, and this is where I'm at. You're vested. You can't start over because now it's like those 15 hours were wasted. You have to press on.
Yeah, it's, you know what? You can't let that control you.
I have to let it control me.
No, you don't
have to do it.
You don't. I feel strongly about this. It's this whole like fake investment of time, you know, like you're losing out on the fun. The amount of fun you would be having, you're losing it because you're not playing it.
But it is fun. I will say though that there are certain games that nail this formula to the letter. So there's a game I'm playing now and probably forever called Labyrinth of Dusk. Labyrinth of Refrain, Covenant of Dusk. A title that sounds really dumb, but actually makes sense in the
Covenant
game.
Of Dusk.
That's a terrible reference.
Covenant of Dusk.
Terrible song. Terrible song. Revoking your contract. You're done. You're done in this. You're done in this industry.
I'm not stopping. You can't stop me, Dad.
You can't stop the music. But this game, the way they designed it is that you can play the game, and the difficulty is a matter of just requesting. You can say, hey, I'm on normal, but you can go to a side screen and say, I want to request this game get harder. And the game will say, no problem, here you go. And it'll just make everybody harder.
I like that.
And if you feel it got too hard, you go back to that side screen and say, you know what, no, I want to go back to the lighter difficulty. Send me back. The game's like, no problem, here you go.
Slider. I love it.
Yeah, and depending on the aspect of the game, sometimes it might give you some more benefits, like maybe playing on a harder mode will give you more money or more experience or better drops. So there's incentive to playing the harder difficulties, not just, the beating my chest bit of I beat it on a harder difficulty. It's all, or even just I just like that rush of challenge. It's also, you may like the rush, but we'll reward you for that too. I like when games do that. But in this game, I just felt myself going, if it's too easy, then I'm going to regret not going on normal. I've been not going on hard. So I'll just do hard from the start. But then it was the exact opposite effect where it's like, whoops, it's really hard. I regret not, starting from lower back.
So what's your next track?
I wish it was from, Labyrinth of Refrain, but
Did you lose your Post-it note? You found your Post-it note.
I never lost it. Don't tell the listeners that. They'll mock me. This track comes from listener Chris Murray, and I have to pick it because it is from another very favorite game of mine recently, which has stellar music. And the game is called Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel, and the track title is called The Glint of Cold Steel. And the composers are from the the
Falcom Sound Team Cold Steel. JD Steel.
That's their new metal outlet. The Falcom Sound Team, specifically being Hayato Sonoda, Takahiro Unisuga, and Saki Momiyama. Welcome back. You're listening to The Glint of Cold Steel, the battle track from the game Trails of Cold Steel, rather, The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel, submitted by listener Chris Murray and composed by Hayato Sonoda, Takahiro Unisuga, and Saki Momiyama from the Falcom Sound Team. So, this battle track sounds good, but at one point it didn't quite click with me as being a solid battle track, because originally I was like, this seems a little too low key. I don't feel pumped.
This is low key. This is high.
I'm getting it for a Falcom game.
Oh, this is a high energy tune.
It is, but as I said, for a Falcom game, it didn't quite register.
Doesn't have enough guitar.
By the end of the first dungeon, though, it resonated, and I was listening to it and enjoying it very much.
Is this one that repeats throughout the game, or just throughout a certain area?
Oh, it's the whole game. This is the default battle jam.
Oh, okay.
That goes down where you're punching monsters in their faces with your fists, sometimes embroidered with a knuckle. So, Trails of Cold Steel series, from those who are listening, and including the submitter, Chris Murray, this is a series that is just phenomenal. Chris got into it. I've been into it. And I will recommend it to literally anybody who will freaking listen to me. I mean, anybody. It It is one of the few game series I can think of that spends literal years building this universe that you get invested into, to the point where you'll play a game that's a sequel to a game that came out 4 or 5 years prior, and they'll bring up an event that occurred in that game, and you'll be able to directly reference it and go, oh, that was the direct result of that from that game.
Oh.
But then the best part about it is
It's like a legacy of like characters and plots. And
some might call it a legend.
a legend.
But the thing about it is, like, even if, let's say, for example, you don't have time for Trails in the Sky, you don't feel like going back to a retro game. You just want to start with the Trails of Cold Steel games, which are the ones that are currently being put out on PS4.
Yeah, I don't want to play other stuff. I want to play what's out there now, Pernell. I want the real thing.
Well, that's the beauty of it. You can do that, and while you won't necessarily get the joy of catching all those classic references being brought to light, you'll still enjoy the game because they designed it in a way where you don't feel left out in the cold by not having been there from the start.
Oh, is it like, oh, I know that guy, and so it's sort of like a little thing, like a insider's reference.
Yes.
I was gonna say in joke, but it's not a joke.
Now, but with that said, though, I still wholeheartedly recommend playing them all, especially if you're playing the Trails of Cold Steel games. You should at least play Cold Steel 1 and 2. Don't just go into 2, because while they do have like a little quick catch-up thing, why do you want to read a catch-up thing for a game that is building off of its previous title? And I mean, it really builds off of it. You don't even, when you start Trails, without spoiling the game proper, when you start Trails of Cold Steel 2, you come in leveled up already with a bunch of gear, because you are literally coming in after the first game. And rather than hit you over the head with a rock and make you forget everything you did in the first game, you still know all that stuff. It's just now you get new stuff. They give you advanced mechanics, and it's gold.
It's cool. As action RPG, yeah.
No, it's turn-based, but it's a field. So it's not just I hit you, you hit me. It's I have attacks that have an attack radius.
Okay.
I have attacks that go like a cone shape
And
or
you
a
have
line
to
shape.
you move, you spend turns moving and stuff.
Yeah, you move your guys into position, or if you can actually move the guy and attack on the same turn. But ultimately, there's spatial reasoning and placement, and it's just it's so good. It's probably my favorite series right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Megaton a lot.
Chris Murray, too. Chris Murray's like all about it.
Yeah. Like, and it made me sad because, like, I see people get giddy about like Final Fantasy still, and I'm like, I know you've been waiting, 7 years for this remake of a game that we all enjoyed here, but in the meantime, there's a franchise right over here that you could be engaging yourself with. It will, if anything, it'll at least make it easier to wait out Final Fantasy VII, Just tell me your old friend Pern sent you. You might get a discount. You won't get a discount, but you might get a discount. This is a gem of a game, and I was glad to see him submit the track for this title.
Yeah, everyone gets bonus points if you go to your local GameStop and said, "Old man Pern sent you."
Honestly, if you did, I think it would be cool because eventually it becomes so widespread they'd have a corporate meeting. It's like, who the heck is this old man who keeps telling everybody to buy this game? We don't stock.
So, okay, I guess this is going to be great for the listeners. Our friend Chris, he was in town yesterday.
Oh,
like for one day only, with his wife and kid. Anyway, so we saw him last night. We dropped everything because he was only in for one night, and he left this morning. And we saw him, and he said,
You played that Trails of Cold Steel game?
No, because they live in Columbus. And they're like, yeah, we have like a neighbor who knows Pernell. He knows you. His name's Garrett?
That's not true.
Garrett. His name's Garrett.
He didn't say that. Wait, he lives next door to Garrett Rabineau?
Yeah. I don't know
That's
his last
a
name.
lie.
His name is Garrett, lives in Columbus. He lived like next door to him.
I'm going to ask that later, because that's not true. That is not true. But if it is,
it's amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they were like, yeah, like you go to these places and they just know Pernell.
That can't be a lie, because you have no way of knowing Garrett.
No, I don't. I just know the name Garrett.
And I know exactly what you're talking about.
So I wanted to mention that before we carried on, before I forgot about it, because I thought that you get a kick out of it.
I'm going to message the living daylights out of him later, because that's hysterical.
Yeah, because Chris is a great guy.
Also, fun thing you'd appreciate about Garrett, though, he drives an actual, what's that plastic car from Initial D?
Yes, the Toyota 86 or whatever, the 86 Toyota Corolla.
Yeah, he drives one of those.
They said like, in the driveway there's like this old school like Japanese like Toyota, but it's covered in like Japanese writing and stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. He does like scrap metal and stuff like that. Like I think they were talking about the same guy. But
you have to be. How many Garretts have old Japanese cars in their driveways in Ohio?
He's the same person who also does and collects scrap and then resells it. I might be the same.
They're all the same thing. He just won't resell the old Nissan.
No. A Toyota
Nissan.
Toyota. Drive a Toyota Nissan today. All right, so our next track comes to us from none other than Nick Walker. Yes, that Nick Walker. This is from Monster Hunter 3 Try. Like in parentheses was TRI. And this one's composed by Yuko Komiyama. And this is called the Ceadeus Battle Part 2. listening to Ceadeus Battle, or Ceadeus Battle, Part 2 from Monster Hunter 3, composed by Yuko Komiyama, and this was picked by Nick Walker. He says, "This song is the final boss theme from the main story of Monster Hunter Try, or 3. A game I spent many hours watching my brother play on the couch, super enthralled with the more nature-inspired monsters, and getting very frustrated by his lack of skill." Damn! No.
No, don't.
Putting your brother on blast.
Well, hopefully his brother comes back with a vengeance and recommends a track that Nick from a game Nick wasn't good at. That'd be pretty hilarious. But no, like Monster Hunter 3. So fun thing about that game. So I've bought Monster Hunter Freedom Unite on
platform
PS3.
is that on?
I'll get to that.
Oh gosh, come on, you answer my questions.
Never. So I bought Monster Hunter Freedom Unite on the PSP because it also was like one called like Monster Hunter Frontier or something like that. Someone had recommended them as being like, hey, this is a franchise you want to get into. And I tried. It was too complicated and convoluted. It was annoying. I did not enjoy myself, so I just put it right down. I have the games just sitting on my shelf doing nothing. So Monster Hunter 3, called Monster Hunter Tri, was announced, and what ended up happening was for its US release, it got 2 versions released. There was one version that released on the Nintendo Wii U, I want to say.
Wii U.
And another version that released on the 3DS. And you could pass your save file between the 2 games. So you could play it on the go and play it at home. So to me, that was like, this is the perfect way to get to this franchise.
Because you play equally like on the go and at home.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know you do.
So what I ended up doing was I bought one version, and then when I bought the Wii U version first, and then later on I got the discounted 3DS version. And I actually used to do the thing where I would pass the file back and forth. I never beat the game proper because back then what ended up happening to me was I was convinced that this game needed the multiplayer angle to truly click because the game is heavily built around the idea of hunters playing in the same universe, going and hunting monsters together. Plus, until you really get used to the games back then, there was a lot to learn and understand, whether it was a matter of like knowing which stuff to harvest to make items that are just staples, quote unquote,
like
for hunting.
The crafting and all that. Yeah.
And knowing just how to properly sharpen your gear, all kinds of stuff. So ultimately, I played it, but never truly mastered it, and I just kind of let it go. But then later games, as the games started coming out later, and I got opportunities to play with other people, I got really vested. And now, I think the franchise is freaking fantastic. So the downside is I never got to fight this boss before.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it'd be nice if one day they bring back the means of which to fight him again. Because according to listener Daryl, this was one of the underwater monsters, and from what I remember, the 3rd game had underwater battles, which were annoying as all get out, but they were still something you just got used to and you did.
Well, that changes that changes like my vision of like how the song is placed. Like I was originally thinking it was like in a forested area, or
it could be a submerged forest.
But now I'm imagining it. Yeah, submerged, like a submerged forest.
Could
yeah,
be
like
submerged forest.
Could be like some kind of flooded path. It's cool. It's really
could be some dude's basement.
Could be.
But so as a result, unfortunately, after Monster Hunter 3, the water battles were taken out for the same reason I just stated. A lot of people were complaining about them. So
like slow or like?
Well, it was the idea of like you're underwater fighting, which you had to be concerned about your oxygen levels.
Oh,
so if I remember, my memory could be up, but I'm positive you had oxygen levels underwater.
Yeah,
so you could drown, sense. So you had to worry about getting out of the water or having good items. Yeah, it was a pain. I did not. I did not necessarily. I can't say I really like the underwater stuff. So, as a result, they took it out of the games, which means this boss, unless they somehow change him so he's actually adaptable to land or something, he is officially out of the running until they do something about that.
Well,
so,
I hope
submerged temple, he says.
This music is I love the singing. I love those drums and those bells that sit in the back behind the drums. It's really cool.
It's a good track.
It's really good. Thanks for sharing this, Nick Walker. Thank you very much.
And your testimonial to go with it, actually.
We appreciate that. All right, Pernell, what's the final one? All right, the final countdown.
My last track is from listener Soulless Sanctuary, and unfortunately does not have a testimonial, but I'm just going to say Soulless Sanctuary, PLR loves this series.
Yes.
She loves it to death, and she draws characters from it and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
She loves this stuff. So there's her testimony. I just gave it to her. I gave it one. The game is called Etrian Odyssey Nexus. And the track title is called Battlefield, the First Campaign. It's pretty much like a remix of sorts from a previous Etrian Odyssey game done for Nexus. And it's composed by Yuzo Koshiro. welcome back. You're listening to Battlefield, the first campaign by Yuzo Koshiro, though apparently, according to Soulless Sanctuary, Yuzo Koshiro mentioned that he may have gotten an arranger for this, but she doesn't know the name and neither do we, so we'll have to look it up later to add it to the track notes so we can find it.
There is a lot of instrumentation, so I'm sure maybe he did like the original composition, had additional arrangements or arrangers, and then, you know, I don't know how many instruments he plays.
A lot. But I forgot to mention before I forget, it was from the game Etrian Odyssey Nexus, which is the final Etrian Odyssey game on the Nintendo 3DS. And what a freaking way to go. Fun fact, and something I really appreciated about this track being submitted, is that this is a remix of my favorite battle theme from the franchise. So, like, regular battle theme from the franchise. It's freaking gold. So to hear, I was like, yes! He gave it such a good treatment. You can't go wrong with this. It's pure shredding. And it makes me kind of feel bad that I haven't put my copy in yet because I'm like, I got to play through 3, then probably 5. I'm like,
I had it on hard mode and I couldn't finish it.
There's the beauty of it. The whole game is hard mode. You don't get a choice. If you can't hack it, get out.
You know my secret.
I'm always on hard mode. It's always nightmare mode for me.
It's always hard mode. It's always nightmare mode, yeah. It's always a nightmare. God, this is so good. I'm really loving this tune. I love the keyboard shredding and I love the guitar shredding. I love that it starts with that really heavy like
fitting for all the sword shredding you'll be doing too.
Yeah, the sword shredding is probably really intense. God, this is really cool. Yeah, and then this like little midway section where it just gets real happy with that keyboard.
Like to me,
loving it. That's
Etrian Odyssey Nexus, even for what little I know about it, is the perfect example of a love letter to fans of a long-running series. This game is, and Soulless Sanctuary is actually in the chat, so if I'm wrong, she can totally correct me. But they actually brought back a variety of player classes from all the games in the franchise. Put them in the one game, gave them some tweaks and twibops, so they almost feel new, but they're also revisits. They revive some of the old dungeon concepts.
Oh, very cool.
So it's almost like a best hits of Etrian Odyssey intertwined into a new plot in a way that, like, if you've been playing any of the games, this is almost a no-brainer purchase for you. It's like those episodes of TV shows like where they're all sitting around the kitchen table like, remember that time you fell down the stairs and everyone laughed about it? We couldn't find where the laughter was coming from, but we just kind of assumed the house was haunted and left it at that. And then they show the flashback. That's what this is for Etrian Odyssey, except the flashback is new gameplay with old mechanics.
That's awesome. I just started rewatching Community, and there was like in one season they probably do it a couple times. There's episodes where they all flash back onto like memories of like, oh, remember that class that we had? But it's all of these flashback scenes that never happened in the show. So like they're all thinking about all the crazy outfits that the dean wore, but like all these scenes occur. But none of the scenes actually happened like in previous episodes. It's just random stuff they came up with. Like, remember that day that we all got angry at each other, but then we all made up in the end, and they're all like, "Oh, we're all angry." I like it. That reminds me of that.
That's another thing I like about TV shows. Not too many shows do that, though, which you just described. But I like when they do, when they have fake memories.
Yeah, I think that's a Dan Harmon thing. You know, like we're probably the writing on the show, the writers on the show too.
Yeah,
so I feel like that's
Rick and Morty does something like that too. Where it's like, remember that they had a whole episode where they were being assaulted by parasites who create fake memories to burrow into your brain and come up and exist in your world as this fake character they came up with. It's like, remember that time we were in this amusement park, we had fun, and everybody's hanging out, and this like unrelated character just happens to be there with you. And it's like, yeah, wasn't it fun, guys? It's like, yeah, you were there the whole time, weren't you? It's like,
I remember when we started that podcast 20 years ago.
And it was like, yeah, rhythm, pixels, and blips. And then Blips is sitting over there like, hey, guys, you want to talk about video game music?
Well, I'm going to turn this track down, and we're going to get into the part of the show we like to call the bonus round.
Bonus round. Yeah, bonus round.
Yeah. Talking about bonus round.
Bonus round.
Bonus round is the part of the show where we play covers and remixes and arrangements on today's theme. And for my bonus round track, I wanted to share something with you. That's right. So I became obsessed with tracking down this old mix CD that Sega released in 1996 called Club Saturn. It was when the Saturn first got released, and they knew they had to reach a new market of kids who were listening to the new dance music that was coming.
The new rap music.
Yeah, no, like this is like the house music, trance music was just becoming like, and jungle and drum and bass was just becoming a thing. So they networked with all of these underground labels in the UK, and they came up with and they gave them samples from the games.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a Virtua Cop game, a track. There's a track of Fighting Vipers.
Not Striking Vipers.
No, Fighting Vipers. I don't know. It's a really bad 3D game, but there's a lot of bad.
I know Fighting Vipers.
Yeah.
That was a reference to something I'll tell you about later.
So I have two old school. I mean, this is 1996 jungle remixes of two games. So I think I'm going to go with this one because I know you love Baku Baku Animal.
I do.
So this is, I mean, like, and who knows Baku Baku Animal anymore? It's like this is beyond like deep cut. Like this is the deepest of cuts. So
but this game, Baku Baku, that game, it goes back.
Yeah, so Baku Baku goes back. The artist on this is called Dream Team, and they go way back to the origins of jungle. So this is Baku Baku remix by Dream Team that was released on the 1996 compilation, and then also had a 12-inch release too with this track on it called Club Saturn. That was Baku Baku drum and bass mix from Dream Team from the Sega released compilation Club Saturn.
Club Saturn. It's weird. Like
Sega
I feel
Saturn.
like for all that music that played, I was trying to spot the different samples. I caught like 3 of them.
Yeah, I think they only had like 3 or 4 samples, but they were like, all right, we'll throw them in.
Like sound drops that would pop here and there, but for the most part, it was like we composed our own track. They're all animals, so we'll go with jungle.
There's some,
and it's like, wah, wah, wah.
I know, right? There's some really good. There's really good Nights remixes on there. There's a really good Daytona remix, like probably the best in a Sonic 3 mix. Sonic 3? No, Sonic CD. There was the one on Saturn.
Saturn was Sonic R, Sonic 3D Blast,
Sonic 3D Blast,
and that's it.
That's what it was.
And it was terrible.
Yeah, but the music was cool.
Oh, the music was good.
Yeah. So it's
the gameplay was really even not so bad. It's just so wasn't Sonic. It was more like a game of Flicky.
That's not good.
It was not.
Some of the music is very like early, like mid to late 90s sounding, like you would hear like in The Matrix, the movie The Matrix. It's really good. I like it a lot. This really puts me back. Really puts me back into high school. So, all right. As it should.
Back in the jungle.
Back in the jungle. All right. So, what's your bonus track?
So, my bonus track also comes from Wicked Sephiroth. It is a track that came completely unexpected by me.
Yeah, I'm so glad, guys. If you didn't pick it, I was going to pick it.
This is a jam.
It's popping.
And I shut up.
It's popping.
You shut your pie hole. That never was said by any human ever at all. Anyway, meanie pants. This is a track from tribute album dedicated to the game series Armored Core. Mm-hmm. The track title is called Morning Thinker, as in like not I'm a morning thinker, but Morning Thinker. At least that's the way it's written, so I don't know. And all I'm looking at from the notes here is that it was originally composed by Kota Hoshino, and the vocals are performed by Dia Vengen. Right. It's really good.
The arranger is called Another Soundscape. And we'll have some more information when we get back. Wicked Sephiroth gave us some information about how the track was created and what's really going on here. So let's listen to the tune.
I'm a thinker, I could break it down, I'm a shooter. a thinker.
You just listened to
No, keep singing.
The Morning Thinker from Armored Core. It's a remix composed by another Soundscape. It is a fantastic track, and according to Wiki Sephiroth, it is a combination of a multitude of tracks from across Armored Core. I believe he said 3 and 4.
Yeah, it's Morning Glow, Morning Lemon Tea, Thinker, and Someone Is Always Moving on the Surface.
So as you can probably glimmer from that, Morning comes from 2 track titles, and Thinker is from Thinker. And then Someone Is Always Moving on the Surface is just kind of hanging out there somewhere, hoping someone catches the notice.
I love the Armored Core games. Do you ever get into them?
I have not because of dislike, but because I don't know. As honestly, I couldn't even tell you
They
why.
didn't click
Because
with you, or?
well, I never bought them. Like I play mech combat games now. Like I like the idea of giving them the legs, the arms, and the tracks of missiles.
Yeah.
But the first one that I played was not an Armored Core game. It was a whole nother franchise. And to this day, I feel like I've played a bunch of different mech combat games, but none of them have been directly Armored Core. Some might have been like spiritual successors, but none of them have outright been Armored Core.
I like them a lot. Like they were, I got way into them. The last one on PlayStation 1 and the first one on PlayStation 2, which was, I don't think it was a launch game. It might have been a launch game. It came out right around the launch of the PS2. They're a lot of fun. They're very difficult to control, but I feel like that's part of the game. It's kind of like tank controls a little bit. But all of the customization you can do to the robots in that game is really neat. And all of the missions they put you on, it's really cool. This is a cool track. I want to go back and play some of these games, or at least watch some gameplay to figure out where these tracks are coming from. 'Cause it sounds really neat.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I could totally get into one of these now, especially because I feel like I've been built up to the point where I can understand them and work with them all. There was a game I actually reviewed not too long ago that I had mixed feelings about, but it takes elements from these kinds of games. It was like called Armored Gunner or something like that, where the idea was you were working to pay off the debt your parents left you when they died or disappeared, whichever of the two it was, and left you with their robot hangar. So you have to
crazy.
construct a mech using your robotic assistant, and then dive into old robo ruins to mine for parts and fight other mechs that are like just down there zombified or whatever.
That
Zombie
sounds
robots.
awesome. That sounds so cool.
It is low budget though, so even though the premise is cool, they took shortcuts to the point where it got old fast. But the premise and the early hook is cool, and getting new armored parts and setting them up with your guy is awesome. Though I will say, one thing that bugs me, which I hope Armored Core does not do, Wiki Sephiroth can clarify this for me if you can. In the game I'm describing, the armor parts had those like mark titles. They weren't just like, Nitro Armor or, Mega Buster Arm.
It's like
part.
Mega Buster Mark IV.
Now, I'd be fine with that, 'cause that would imply it's the Mega Buster part, but it's the Mark IV, which is better than Mark 1. These are things where it's like RQ-47-6 1. And you're like, okay, so is RQ-47-6 better than 75Z-Beta 9? I don't freaking know, because it's just a bunch of letters strung together.
I think Armored Core was similar. I'm pretty sure it was.
It drove me nuts, because while it is cool that you get these things and you can outfit your up with the best stuff, wouldn't you say that when you play games, it's easy to remember stuff when they actually have names, like actual names? Like, is the Demon Sword better than the Lizard Buster? Is the Friendship Bracer better than the Anger Bracelet? I don't know, but I know what I'm comparing because they have easy to understand names.
You have some context, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess they're going for some kind of authenticity or something, but I think it's fun. But so anyway, yes, I'm sorry.
I could complain more about weirdly named mechanical parts. What are you talking about?
I have a whole car full of them. Let me tell you.
I can't sell them to anybody.
I don't know what to do with it. Well, anyway, for more information on the bonus round part of our show, you can go to rhythmandpixels.com, and we'll have links to Bandcamps and SoundClouds and everywhere where you can buy the music and support the artists.
me this or Shuffler Boogie.
I like it. All right, thanks for joining us on episode 18-10 of Rhythm and Pixels. This is our last episode of World 18. World 19, it could be anything. I think it's one of those sky stages that goes vertical, and if you fall down, you die. And I always run out of continues.
By World 5, we're going to get lightheaded and pass out.
I'm saying it was a good thing that we saved up all those 1-ups in this world.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Stockpiling them, baby.
Because you're always yelling at me for taking your lives.
I really do. Yeah, I'm breaking character for that. Yeah, I do yell at you for that because it drives me freaking nuts. I'm like, hey, I got through 4 stages, never dying. And I die finally. I was like, oh, guess where all my lives go. And you're sitting there like,
I just want to keep playing. Don't you want me to be happy?
No, not the expense of, not the cost of my lives. I don't. Get them out of here.
Well, thanks to everybody who is listening right now, and thanks to everyone in our chat room, as this was a live recorded episode for our Patreon listeners.
It was
our Patreon subscribers
and listeners.
And listeners, they're both.
They're the same thing.
They're the same thing. But thank you all so much. And if you'd like to get in contact with us, if you have a question for us, or if you have a topic suggestion or a track suggestion, please send us an email.
rhythmandpixels@hotmail.com.
And if you'd like to find more information about our show, get a full track listing from all of the episodes and access to all of the episodes, go to the website.
rhythmandpixels.com.
If you want to say hello to us on... my brain just died. If you want to say hello to us on social media, check us out on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. It's Rhythm and Pixels, all one word. On Facebook, we have a little chat group called the Rhythm and Pixels Chat. You can find us there and just we'll invite you right in. It's not a big deal. And we all just talk about games and stuff. There's also a really great chat group on Facebook called the VGM Podcast Fans. So there's not just us. There are quite a few podcasts who are all about video game music, and we all like each other. We all like each other very much.
Yeah.
We all support each other financially. No, we all, and so it's really cool. Everyone gets to talk there. You can talk with your favorite podcasters, or just talk with other listeners and share stuff. Go to our YouTube page, youtube.com/rhythmandpixels, and we have a radio station playing 24/7 8-bit and 16-bit classic music. And and if you'd like to support the show, go to patreon.com/rhythmandpixels, and there you get access. Hold on, I think something just broke.
That was weird.
Nope, it's all good. And there you get access to live streamed episodes every month of the show, and we still release them as normal episodes, but this way you get to see us recording, you can chat with us as we're doing the show, we can joke with you, and it's a lot of fun. And we also like to thank all of our Patreon members at the end of every episode. So we'd like to thank that Nick Walker. Yes, that Nick Walker.
The very same.
Alex, the Messenger. Yes, that Messenger. Steve Miller. That's Steve Miller. Oh my God.
Never we can't be that.
The Autistic Gamer 89. Cameron Worma, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Christopher Shenstrom. Damian Beckles. Bobby Arson from One Up Funk. And just to remind everybody, I did a collaboration with Bobby Arson.
It's a good one, too.
It's called Frequency. It is under my name, Press Start to Continue. You can find that on our YouTube page, and I've shared it all over Facebook and places, too. We have some more projects coming up in the future with him and his DJ up where he lives in Canada. So I'm really excited to get started on that work. It's going to be some fun, nerdy hip-hop, super nerdy hip-hop. So I also want to thank Wicked Sephiroth, who gave us some great tracks today and also hanging out with us.
Fun fact, he may well have been the first to get a hat trick on one of these episodes.
Oh, we
because I took his bonus track and I took the one book Shuffle or Boogie.
Right, and then I played Trog. Now we're listening to Trog.
Yeah. And the reason that came was because we were like, we need to come up with a good closer. And I'm like, well, I couldn't decide between this Trog track or Shuffle or Boogie, but since we had them both queued up, take that Trog.
Dude, Trog is like the game that me and my brother would play all the time as kids, and just it was the way.
So you've played it before?
Yeah, we used to just. It was a battle. It was a fight every time we played it.
So how do you die? Like I was watching video of it today. I'd never heard of it until the submissions came through, and while I really didn't like when every time the caveman was like, I got a new way to kill this dinosaur. This is appealing. I could never quite grasp how to die because you can punch guys.
Yeah.
So if they're walking up to you, you're just going to punch them anyway.
Yeah, it's all about points.
So it's really one of those games where you're likely not to die unless you're like drunk at the controller.
Yeah, it does get harder towards the end, but also like we were like real little kids. So if you're a real little kid, you'll like this game. Trog is for kids.
Is it?
I think so. Anyway, thank you, OK Impala, for listening to the show. Thank you, Kung Fu Carlito from the Heroes 3 podcast. Thank you, Henrik Anderson of the Camouflage Commodore 64 podcast. Thank you, Michael Bridgewater from the Forever Sound Version podcast. I think he's doing his live stream bad games for charity again.
Is that coming up?
I think so. Or
he
it just got
does
reshared somehow.
When he does those, they're
entertaining.
on point.
Yeah, they're really fun. I want to thank Brian Pitt, Morton Gangso, Chris Murray. What's going on? Daryl, the last weekend. Thanks for joining us in the chat as well. Jupiter Jazz, Soulless Sanctuary, thanks. Mix 6 Master John Jeagle, thank you so much for listening to our show. Whatever you're going through right now, we're here for you.
Got your back, buddy.
We got you, man. Thank you, Joe Vassallo, Chris Steenerson, and David Smith. Thank you all so very, very much for the support that you've given us.
Yeah, us.
I mean, it's the best.
Best.
I knew this was going to happen. Like as I was just like, as it was coming out of my mouth, it was just going to happen. Wiki wild.
Wild west. Dancing!
There's only one way to break the cycle.
This is true.
All right, so you're going to be gone next week.
That's right. So I'm going to be doing nerdy things.
So you'll be back in the weekend.
Nah, I'll be coming back late Sunday night into Monday morning because it's a 15-hour drive coming back. So I'll probably get no sleep and then go right to work.
Okay, so it's very possible that next week's episode will be a best of Rhythm and Pick. No, it'll be like a bonus beats maybe, unless.
Actually, I'm curious. What would people prefer, a best of or a bonus? Because we've never. Well, we have done. I don't think
I have a time to go through best of like cuts.
Well, it wouldn't be like cuts. And that's we would just like
no. Best of is our podcast anniversary.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
So we don't need to do that. We have podcast anniversary.
That'll be in November. The end of this year, maybe it's the beginning of next year, will be our 200th episode, and I'm very excited about that.
How many?
200. This episode is 182.
Holy Magumbos.
It keeps getting moved back if we don't have like full-on episodes because I'm not counting those.
That makes sense.
Because we have a lot in our feed. So yeah, we got to plan something cool for that. So if you're interested in coming out to Wilmington or Philadelphia, get drunk with us. We might have a good time. So next week might be a different show. Look out for that. And thanks for listening. This is Rhythm and Pixels. My name is Rob Nichols.
And I'm Pernell.
Thank you so much for listening and have a safe week.
And remember, freaking get some sleep, people. Go to bed.
Pernell.
Get 8 hours of sleep.
Pernell.
Yes. No reason I'm thinking that or anything. Not like I'm not getting ample amounts of sleep, which results in a number of things, including weird jumbled thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Resulting in weird, awkward conversations with coworkers about episodes of Black Mirror that you probably shouldn't be discussing at work because people are really hot topics about things like that. Anyway, the point is you should sleep more because you function better when you sleep. You process food better while you sleep.
Mm-hmm.
You don't lose information if you sleep enough. And quite frankly, sleeping just feels so good. It's like Florida oranges.
I'm thinking about it right now.
Yes. Sleeping is the best thing a human can. Remember when we were kids and we hated to sleep, and now we're adults and we wish you could get paid for it, which you can if you get one of those stupid studies that expect you to be able to just sleep all day and lose your job. But whatever, those guys are weird. They don't understand how difficult it is to maintain a job and sleep for 18 hours a day. But you should sleep more. Yeah. You'll be grateful for it. Your body will be happy for it. And before you know it, you'll be out there running like 5K marathons and just having a ball, the best time of your life, and you'll owe it all to sleep.
Yeah.
Sweet, glorious sleep. God, I want to go to bed.
Thank you, sleep. We salute you.
Right along with zinc.